made it. 2023 is almost a wrap, and what a year this has been. A lot has happened, in case you haven't noticed. Taylor Swift, Hollywood strikes, the Succession finale, Barbenheimer. I could keep going. We've got some of my favorite people here. We're going to look back at the winners and losers of 2023. I'm Elamin Abdelmahmoud, and what you're listening to is a special edition of Commotion recorded live in the Gould studio in Toronto as part of CBC Toronto's annual food bank drive, Sounds of the Season. Yeah! With me today, we've got some of my favorite cultural thinkers. They're all regulars here on Commotion. Amil Niazi is here. Niko Stratis is here. Matt Hart is here. What's good, everyone? Welcome to the group chat. How you feeling?
Feeling good.
I'm so happy that you're here. Can you believe that the year's over?
Is it? Yes.
Yeah, you're like, Emil's like, yeah, I lived through the whole thing, man.
It was a long year, yeah.
It's all like been punctuated with tinsel, kind of. Like, I didn't feel like the end of the year happened, and then tinsel came, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
And now we've arrived at this moment. Well,
Yes.
Hey, we're going to do this. And the way that we want to do this is to look back at the year 2023 with this frame of winners and losers. So with that in mind, let's get started with this. Come on. This song came, that's Dua Lipa, Dance Tonight. This song came out, 75 years ago, it feels like. It's from the Barbie soundtrack, but it has kind of like come to define my year. I feel like I've been listening to this song so much. You know, Spotify put it as like the number 2 most listened to song of the year, and most of those listens were me.
Yeah.
We're gonna start talking about Barbie and Barbenheimer, because to me, that was like one of the most defining events. Like, I'll look back at 2023, may not remember much. I'm gonna remember Barbenheimer. Emil, I'll start with you. Barbenheimer, winner or loser?
As a phenomenon, Barbenheimer is a winner for sure. Probably one of the biggest winners at the box office. Obviously, Barbie raked it in, and then Oppenheimer benefited from turning it into a thing.
Yeah.
And I think it shows how much people really enjoy a spectacle at the movies, and they want to go to be part of something bigger than just going to the movies.
Did it change how you experience movies? Like that the whole event of Barbenheimer?
For me personally, no, because I only go and watch children's movies now. But I loved seeing people get excited about something.
They got dressed up.
I loved that they were dressing up.
Yeah.
I loved that they were taking pictures. It felt really participatory and engaged. And I think there was a little bit of a halo effect in general for the act of going to the movies. And, you know, we've talked a lot about, are the movies dying? Is the box office still a thing? And I think that this event proved that we do still love to be a part of something as a group, and how much we enjoy doing that outside of our living rooms, because it's just not the same to stream. No one's streaming Barbie and then Oppenheimer. And if you are, you know...
Don't do that.
It feels very sad. It feels very sad in a way that going to see those films as a group, wearing pink, you know, and I loved how much Christopher Nolan
director of Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Director of Oppenheimer, and Greta Gerwig, director of Barbie, played into it and went to each other's movies. And it just felt like a really supportive, exciting part of the year.
Niko, I got to say, when I think about movies that can gross almost $1 billion, I certainly don't think, you know what, a biopic of a scientist is going to be up there. When you think of Barbenheimer, who are the winners and losers?
Well, the movies are winners, the filmmakers are winners, the actors are all winners. The big loser in all of this is me. The person who did not go to the theaters to see these movies.
Am I sitting on a stage with a bunch of people who just didn't participate in Barbenheimer? Is that what I'm learning here?
It's one of those things where, like, I saw everybody I know, and I was like, I would come on the show and I was talking about it before, and I was aware of it and all these things. And then when the movies happened, I just didn't go. And everyone I knew went, and I saw their Instagram stories, and they're all having a great time. And I didn't go. My partner was on tour, and she watched them, and she was like, we need to watch Barbie. And I said, fine. And I watched it at home. I was the person that streamed Barbie, and I was like, that was good. But I didn't have the same experience. Like I didn't have that communal experience that everybody had when they made an event of it. And I definitely feel like, I missed out. Like I lost out on that because I realized that I had been missing this experience. It is funny too when we talk about Barbenheimer, because you know what the movie that nobody's really talking about in Barbenheimer? Oppenheimer. Like I just feel like it's kind of like it's good and it's fine, but also like we don't really want to remember the movie about the guy who created the atomic bomb nearly as much as we want to remember the movie Barbie.
Well, it's hard to like turn that into an event, right?
Totally,
It's hard to even look back at this moment and go like, what was a really big hit is this movie about the guy who created the atomic bomb.
But I would say in many ways, as the year ends and we have a more critical view of both films individually, I'd say Oppenheimer is faring better from a critical perspective than Barbie.
In terms of
true
quality
winner
of
critically
movies.
and quality-wise is Oppenheimer.
We also got to say that like Oppenheimer we're sitting here a couple of months away from the Oscars, and it's far and away like the most likely candidate to win Best Picture. I think like that could change, obviously, but like in this moment, people are like, Oppenheimer, it gives the Academy the thing that it's always looking for, which is like, here's this critically acclaimed work that is also like a lot of people saw and like
a big serious movie.
Exactly. Yeah. But also to Amil's point of talking about Greta Gerwig, Matt, I think about this whole point of having an independent filmmaker who's made a lot of these small movies. Lady Bird, maybe a medium-sized movie.
Sure, yeah.
Little Women, also a medium-sized movie. Yep. And then you get to Barbie. Like, this thing grosses more than $1 billion.
Yeah.
He's clearly a winner of the year. What are you thinking about?
So, because I have all the answers, you see, is
of course.
When you get to take over a new franchise and reboot it, you're supposed to pick someone who's a bit of a risk, like they did here.
Yeah.
And it paid off in spades. And the reason why she's the real winner here is because think of the franchising opportunities that are going to come with the Barbie movie franchise. You're going to have the Ken movie guaranteed. You're going to have Skipper. You're going to have like the dog. You know what I mean? Like they're going to go forever. So she's really in a position to have cornered this entire franchise, which will be, mark my words, enormous. So
the Allen movie.
The Allen movie.
Can't wait for that.
Justice for Michael Cera. Can I just say, Ryan Gosling, clear winner of 2023. I think like if someone has just taken the entire public narrative of how you think about this one person and completely rewritten it like that in just one film, it was Ryan Gosling. And now we have him to thank for the Matchbox 20 revival. Niko, are we happy about that? Is that a winner for you?
Did we get a Matchbox 20 revival?
We got Rob Thomas in the press.
We got
the
Rob Thomas assance is upon us for sure. I mean, look, that was an interesting song choice for sure.
The Barbie movie built quite a bit of the movie around Push by Matchbox 20. Okay, so quickly before we move on from the Barbenheimer phenomenon, is that one maybe loser of the year is the Marvel franchise. I mean, Marvel released movies that are supposed to be pretty big movies when it comes to the entire Marvel universe. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. That's a really big one. We're talking about Ant-Man. We're talking about the Marvels. And like you're sitting at the end of the year being like, what did they put out again? Like I remember a time not long ago, Amil, when Marvel used to be kind of a big deal around here.
Well, I mean, speaking of the spectacle of going to the movies, I would say that, for a long time, going to see a new Marvel movie was what
event.
Barbenheimer became.
That's right.
Is you would dress up, you would go with your friends, it would be an event, you would post about it. And I really think that it shows a lot of how far those movies have fallen, that we had you just named several big Marvel movies that came out this year. I couldn't tell you what a single one of them was about. Their box office was terrible. And it really seems to be kind of the end of an era.
All right, by round of applause, has anyone seen like a Marvel movie this year in the crowd? A smattering. That's what I just heard. There's like 4 people, and they're the only ones that saw Marvel movies this year. I'm very happy for you guys. That's great. Okay, we're going to move on to another big winner of this year, and that is Taylor Swift. Okay. Audience woos. Love this for me. I'm on the record as being noted as a Swiftie, but now so is Time Magazine, who just named Taylor Swift the Person of the Year for 2023. And you can kind of go, that's an obvious choice. It's been this crazy year for Taylor Swift. There was a whole Ticketmaster debacle. There was a tour. There was a concert film. There was 2 different Taylor's versions albums that she released this year. So there's also a quote-unquote Taylor Swift reporter, which I don't know if they're doing their job, but that's just my assessment, saying from here. So there's been no shortage of Taylor Swift news. Niko, you tell me that you're Taylor Swift agnostic.
Yes.
Is Taylor Swift a winner or a loser?
I was so excited to walk out onto the stage and call Taylor Swift a loser, and then just have to leave the country and change my name and hide in a hole for 25 years. Clearly Taylor Swift she's the Time Person of the Year. I don't think you get to have that and then have a bunch of people call you a loser.
No.
This has clearly been her year. Congratulations, Taylor, you did it. Nobody thought you had it in you. I will say I'm
detecting some sense of bitterness. What's happening there?
Not to brag, but I posted about Taylor Swift on Twitter.com yesterday. Just sort of talking about this concern I have of this sort of like, she's becoming this sort of golden idol of a monoculture, right? Where she's being sort of lionized as this ultimate figure, the one pop person, this only sort of visible person in this space. And I worry about like how high she can be put up on this pedestal before what happens when she falls, if she falls. What does that mean for
the big if, pal?
So many people have tied their identities to this person, right? Yeah. And what happens if this public narrative of hers falls apart? What if she does something wrong? What happens if when she was dating Matt Healy, she started to become like Matt Healy, which nobody wants that. We don't even want Matt Healy. So, and I just worry, like
R.I.P. Matty Healy. Listening to this collapse.
Yeah,
on the
I know
spot.
he's sobbing himself to sleep on a pile of money right now.
Yes.
But I just worry, and she's like, I feel like there's a lot of oxygen in the room for her, and I wish we were in a space where we had a lot of oxygen in the room for a lot of people doing interesting things in a pop space that aren't all the same kind of very attractive looking white woman. And hopefully we can get to a better place with that.
There's a resistance to Taylor Swift that I understand, because I think sometimes you go, a thing can't get this big without consequences. And that's sort of what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
But need I remind the audience, there have been consequences, right? There's been at least a couple of times in her career where people kind of been like, oh, we're kind of done with this lady. One of those was 2016, 2017, the Kim Kardashian sort of releases those, we now know, doctored phone call that kind of collapsed Taylor's reputation in public. And she seems to have regained it back. I read that Time magazine profile, Amil, that named her Person of the Year. And what was really frustrating to me is that there wasn't a lot of engagement with like, hey, how did you get the public back on your side? That's the most interesting question to me about Taylor Swift's career at the moment, is that she seems to have this natural kind of alchemy where people kind of keep returning back on her side, even if they did turn against her at a certain point. So if she's not going to answer it, can you answer it? Like, what do you think it is about Taylor that makes people return back to her side?
Well, I disagree with your premise that people turned on her and then turned back to her. I think she's proven that she has built an incredibly loyal fan base that have grown with her and evolved with her.
But she's expanded that fan base.
She's expanded the fan base, but I don't think those fans ever turn their backs and then return to her. I think culturally we have investigated and interrogated her persona, and there's been moments where we've thought, maybe she's not the perfect good girl. Maybe she's not this. But I think as far as people turning on her, she's never faced a true backlash. So I don't think it's fair to say that she's regained a reputation. She's held that reputation throughout her career pretty steadily, I would say.
For those listening at home, my jaw just dropped on the floor. It's fine.
And NFL players right now are kind of giving some backlash because they're taking away all.
Because she's taking a lot of space.
Yeah,
let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happens when someone like Taylor Swift gets so big. Who are we losing out on? Like, what does that, what does that take up space from?
Well, I mean, for me, it takes up like the Charlie XCXs and the like the Greta Gerwigs of music. You know what I mean? Like the kind of smaller, maybe a bit more independent-minded or out there. But I think the problem with Taylor is that she's such a winner, she's become a loser for me. It's like it's like that puppy syndrome where everyone wants a puppy. And then it gets big, and everyone's like, I don't want to walk this thing. And then you just have Travis over in the corner, or Cody, some dog, and he stinks, and he's 16 now, you know what I mean? I feel like we're kind of at that phase now. The puppy phase is over for me with
what I like about this is that the audience has no idea what to do with that. They're like, I guess it's true, but also... Are we mad at puppies now?
Yeah.
Like, is that what I'm supposed to take away?
He's not a puppy. He stays inside.
We hate old dogs, but we love a puppy.
That's right. Yeah.
Niko, I will say that one thing that has been shaping the conversation this year, especially around Taylor Swift, is ticket prices, right? Both with her tour and also the Beyonce tour, we've come to kind of understand that there's like a new floor for ticket prices, and our expectations for how much a ticket should cost is way higher.
Yeah.
Hundreds of dollars higher. And I think something that's kind of clear to me is we're the losers of that, right? Like we being like music fans, people who just kind of enjoy going to see live music. How has your relationship to live music changed this year, do you think?
I mean, those sort of shows are always sort of, I'm one of those people that doesn't really enjoy that big spectacle because it just doesn't feel...
The 70,000 person.
I just feel like I'm an extra in a movie when I'm in those spaces, you know? And like, in the Ticketmaster thing, this is a fight that like, if you're old enough to remember, like when Pearl Jam was fighting this fight in the 90s, you know, like the Ticketmaster fight has been a fight that many, many people have tried to take on.
Pearl Jam tried to do a concert tour without
using
Ticketmaster.
having to use Ticketmaster because this has always been a problem that has been affecting people. I mean, we saw it with Springsteen, we saw it with all these other people.
Sure.
And I worry that people are sort of seeing these experiences as going to Taylor Swift shows, the same as going to Barbenheimer or whatever. They're seeing these big communal experiences. You go to a Taylor show, you get the wristband, you get to do all these things. But you also have to be able to like sell a kidney in order to be able to go to these shows. And at what point does like having to go into serious debt in order to go see one pop star one time to create one memory? You know, like at what point does that become too much and unsustainable?
Well, one loser of that dynamic, though, is Taylor Swift decided that she was going to cut out the middleman in terms of distributing her concert film. And instead of going through the studio system, so the studio system is kind of a loser here, she went directly to movie theaters, and the concert tour opened Amil, and a lot of people turned up for that. That was another one of those sort of event cinema kind of moments. Did you go?
Well, I'm not. No. No, that's not for me.
That's not it. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
I think it's great that, and Beyonce has done the same thing with her concert film as well.
Yeah.
Partnered with AMC to get this movie out so that people can experience the concert because it is really overpriced. And I think what's so interesting about what happens with these kind of big shows is you don't just go see it once. A lot of people are going to see it multiple times.
Sure.
They are putting themselves in debt to do it.
Yeah.
They're flying, to Europe because they can't get a seat in their hometown.
Yeah.
And it's really sort of separated who can afford to see live entertainment and who can't. But I think it's a great opportunity to sort of re-democratize that process by making these films and then having them released to the public. So I think it's great that people are getting a chance to participate in that communal experience without having to shell out, I'm just inventing a number, but I have thousands of dollars.
Billions of dollars.
To see Taylor Swift or Beyonce.
I'll tell you this. I went to see the movie 2 times because I'm just that kind of person.
It
This
doesn't
does not surprise me at all
all
whatsoever. I totally get it. Okay, so this is where things get a little hectic around here. We are going to move on to the speed round of winners and losers. I have this basket, okay? And in this basket, we got a bunch of topics, a bunch of things that happened this year. I don't know what's in this basket, and neither do they. So I'm going to pick out an ornament, and then we're going to go from there. You guys ready? You guys ready to do the okay.
Oh, yes.
Let's do it.
First one, Hollywood actors and writers strikes, winners and losers. Amil, kick us off.
I mean, losers, the studios for now. Winners, I'm hoping the writers certainly held out for a while and managed to get, I think, a fairly decent deal
Pretty
for
good deal,
themselves,
yeah.
and so did the actors for now. I think the losers in that category is us. We have really proven by our own lack of desire to rally for these two groups of people that we obviously... there's a degradation in our valuation of film and television. It's all content, and I think we lose when that's the case.
Okay, that's a good point. Niko, do you have something to say about the writer's strike? Otherwise, we'll move on.
I mean, I just like seeing labor movements be so like public in the public eye for a long time, and people really get a good idea of like organized labor movements and fighting for things that people deserve.
Okay, we're going to try to do the rest of these as quickly as possible. Up next, Blackberry, did we see the movie? Did we see okay, Matt Hart, kick us off.
Loved it. It's of course the story of the Blackberry. It's created by the guys who did Nirvana, the band, the show. It's a winner for
Matt
me.
Johnson. Yeah.
Matt Johnson. Yeah, he also did The Dirties. Lots of great critically acclaimed films. And I think he's going to be a really bright light for Canadian directors. And keep your eye on him if you don't know him now. Matt Johnson, he's a name to watch. And see the Blackberry show and movie. It's amazing.
Glenn Howerton in that movie puts in an incredible shift. I mean,
I'm from Waterloo is going to be the line of the year for sure.
Who would have thought, Niko, that one of the best moments on film would be a story of Blackberry?
I never saw it, but I hope there's an origin story for the little trackball thing.
There actually is. That is a significant part of the movie. Okay, next up. Ooh, sped up songs. Okay, for like a little while, there was like this like TikTok trend of people dancing to the sped up songs, and it's like sped up versions of the songs that are really popular. And then suddenly you had the sped up versions climbing up the charts. And this was a problem for me because I'm not trying to listen to like a chipmunk version of a song that I already like. Amil, winner or loser?
Loser. What, guys, it's okay to experience music as it's meant to be experienced, as the artist made it. We should not be making everything for an algorithm or for TikTok. Loser.
I will say Nelly Furtado sped up one of her songs, and I was like, you know what? Only Nelly Furtado is allowed to do this. And we should
Probably
say...
doesn't sound that different.
Like these are... I hate that she's right.
Okay to say?
Just marginally sped up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this song just kind of needed just like a little uptick in the tempo." But there was something to me about the sped up song trend that is like we're so just like we just want to inhale our entertainment. You know, we don't want to like sit with it. And so even our songs are getting a little.
We've
bit
fallen so far as a society.
We used to be a proper country. Okay, up next, what do we got? Riz, just the word Riz.
I hear a lot of it. I've got an 11-year-old son.
Yeah.
And
hate that for you.
The Riz, if you don't know what that is, what would you say? Like your style, your kind of cool.
It's short for charisma.
Your charisma. There you go. And if you've got a maybe 13 to 8, would you say about that age? Kid, they're going to be saying it a lot.
It's
my
the Oxford
husband
word.
says it all the time, and
I'm
he's certainly
just
not
now
13
realizing
to
that Riz is short for charisma.
Me too.
Like on stage
I pretended
in front
like
of all
I
these
knew.
people.
It was the Oxford Dictionary's word of the year.
I just think of a little rat from the Muppets.
Is that his name?
No, but that's what I think.
Amazing. All right, up next, what do we got? Judy Blume. Okay, it's been a Judy Blume-a-sance.
She do something?
She sure did. There was a documentary, and then there was also a movie. But also, this was like maybe in April. Maybe you don't really remember this. Emil, do you remember the Judy Blume-a-sance?
Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
That's
Judy
right.
Blume is a huge winner this year, and I think it's amazing that a new generation of young people are going to find these beautiful books that connect you to your adolescence.
The next one that I have, Kendall Roy, winner or loser. Kendall Roy, the main character, the greatest character of all time on television. Succession ended this year. Let's talk about Kendall Roy.
Kendall Roy's a loser. There's just no question. His dad saw that from the moment he came into this earth. It's just true. Logan Roy knew Kendall was a loser. That's why he was not the successor. But I love my baby boy Ken, and so in my heart, a winner. In actuality, a huge loser.
Well, I have to leave it there, but what a chaotic round of just real quick cuts, just cutting through everything that happened this year. Matt Hart, Niko Stratis, Amil Niazi, thank you so much, you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Elamin. Winner.
Hey, that's very nice of you. Thank you. Amil Niazi is a freelance writer. She's a columnist at The Cut. Niko Stratis is a culture critic who writes the Substack Anxiety Shark. Matt Hart is a member of the band The Russian Futurists. They're all regulars right here on Commotion. That is it for the podcast today, but listen, before we go, I just want to say a big thank you to the staff here at Glenn Gould Studio. Thank you to our consulting producer, Alan Hibbick, senior producer, Sounds and Season, Shayna Cohen. Thank you to the technical crew, the team here at Commotion, and a big shout out to you. Yeah! Very happy that you're here, our live studio audience. Remember, you can listen to this show anytime you like, wherever you get your podcast. Do me a favor, follow us on Instagram. We are at Commotion CBC. You can also watch this very podcast on our YouTube. Happy New Year. Listen, I just want to tell you, this year has been a lot. I hope you're staying safe this holiday season. I hope you're feeling optimistic. I don't know, looking forward to what comes next. I'm wishing all of you the best for 2024. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.